Hey guys. So, what Spirit wanted to bring through today was when you're not in a creative space and you're not allowing that creative energy to move you on a regular basis, your ego is usually what's running the show. And that's what Spirit wants to talk about today. When to recognize this. And usually it's very much survival mode. And what we all need to realize is that in order to receive, we have to get into this certain frequency. But we can't really get into that frequency when our ego is always in the driver's seat, when it's always distracting us. Like a lot of times we don't recognize when ego is sabotaging our life because we'll use something that the matrix and the programming deems as acceptable as a means of escape. Sometimes even if you have a job that you actually hate or the environment is toxic, you will still use it as an escape if that makes you feel good because you're at least making money, right? At least you're making money. And a lot of times people will overwork or go to the gym to escape or escape through being on the phone with their friends or escape through going out, drinking, substance abuse of all kinds. There's so many ways to escape, right? And sometimes I don't think we realize how much time we waste escaping when we could just use the creative energy in such a healthier way that builds us into the highest version of who we want to be, right? A lot of times people escape through sex, right? They use that creative energy, literally the potency of like when you have an orgasm, that is intense creative energy. That's why a lot of men do semen retention because they're harnessing that creative energy. There's a whole science behind it. And women can do that same thing. They can harness their creative energy or use that energy in an intentional way. And so when we're not using it intentionally, we are just, it's like bad spiritual hygiene. It's just like no boundaries, just giving your energy away to the programming, the matrix, to toxic people who have no idea how this world works. They're not intentionally living in it, but we've been codependent and attached to our friends, our family, or everything, regardless of the fact if they know anything about what you know about, or if they're able to fill your cup or meet you at a certain frequency, right? We still give our energy away to all these things. Sometimes it's interesting, like how people really will sabotage themselves to stay in the comfort zone of a program that is arguing for their own limitations, a program that is never gonna be enough. It's never gonna fulfill them. It's never gonna be what they need in order to expand in this life, because the program isn't it. You have your own program. Like your authentic version has its own program, probably has its own business, has its own way of maneuvering through this life, isn't waking up by like an alarm clock and forced to go somewhere they don't want to be, isn't laying next to somebody or married next to somebody in their bed who they're just settling for, who they maybe don't align with in certain ways. Completely different personalities, values, belief systems, ways of being. Maybe they don't respect you or even see that you have needs. Like there's so many different ways that we just give our energy to the programming because we think it's going to be easier, right? Financially, I can't leave my partner. We think it's going to be easier because we're not upsetting the kids. It's more about upsetting your own image, because staying with somebody who's not healthy for you is really just showing the kids to do the same thing and to be in the same toxic cycle, unfulfilling cycle that you're in. But the ego cares more about its image than it does their own children. Unfortunately, that's how this world works, And I think a lot of people are well-intentioned, but they don't realize how much ego they carry because they present so well this image of what they're supposed to be, right? Supposed to be. And so people will often encourage them in those ways and validate them in those ways. And those little quick hits of dopamine and acceptance keeps them going, right? It's just like convincing slaves they're not slaves. Like that's the world we live in. And because of that, we're convinced that because we get a couple of free hours on the weekend that we're somehow like happy. Like we should be happy, you know? And it's absolutely absurd because just me, my experience on this journey, like I remember when I was in college, after I quit playing basketball in college, I worked full time, went to school, college full time, finished a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. Everyone's like, "Oh, that's so great, Kelsey. You're doing so much. We're so proud of you." And it's like deep down, I'm just burnt out, exhausted. I need help, but I won't ask for it, right? Totally in survival and masculine energy, but everyone's just like, "You're so strong. We're proud of you." And like, look at Kelsey. She's doing it, right? Like, it's so ridiculous. I don't want to be called strong. I'm a woman. I'm supposed to be the one at home taking care of my family, not in survival mode because I'm like playing this certain role. Like I'm about traditional roles. That's like as me as a person. That's my personal preference. That's who I came here to kind of be, my most authentic version. A less authentic version of me says, I don't need anyone. I don't need help. You know, like think about this stubborn ego that you have. Whenever I just surrender, I notice how that surrender is a space of receiving, and then I will get help and I will be in a place where I can accept it, right? And it's just like intricately knowing yourself. So you know when you're an ego, you know when you're just giving your energy away and it's just bad spiritual hygiene. Maybe you just have casual sex. That is the biggest way to give away your power and your energy is through casual sex or through connecting sexually with somebody that when you exchange energy with them, it's not reciprocal because they haven't done the healing that you have maybe, right? So you're just they're getting a quick hit of whatever chemical gets released when you are intimate with somebody. And then it's feeling like shit about yourself afterwards, right? It's like when people watch porn and afterwards they feel shitty about themselves. I never had that issue with that specific thing, so I can't really speak from a place where I understand it, but I've spoke with people before, and a lot of them say they feel shitty after they watch something like that, or they feel shitty after they do something they know isn't of the highest good of them, right? And so like recognizing where you keep looping in these patterns with work or relationships or with family or with substance abuse or with shopping or with working out or with whatever it is you use as a coping mechanism. The coping mechanism is not the problem. It's what you're using to put a Band-Aid on the problem. And that looks like the major problem, which is something that you probably have to address, right? The coping mechanism. But the underlying layer that you have to address is why are you trying to escape the life you're in? Is it because you're choosing a life of slavery in a job that's toxic, or codependent relationships with your family members, or in your regular relationship, or settling in all kinds of ways, or having dreams and aspirations and never going for them, or not even having dreams and aspirations because you've already assumed that this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to be on the hamster wheel your whole life, and this is it. This is life, guys. That's not life. That's not life. And if we just stop being distracted by bullshit for 2 seconds, we could maybe tap into spirit and get a little information so we know who we are and what we came here to do, and we can actually implement it into our life. But until we start peeling back the layers and getting rid of this shit, which I have been talking about for years, and right now with this new timeline coming online, we're in a choice point. You either choose the old bullshit and you get stuck in that gunk of an old timeline, or you let it go and move forward. And like, what are you gonna do, guys? Like, what are we really gonna do here with everything? Like, stop saying, oh, I'm gonna wait till Monday. Oh, I'm gonna wait till whatever. Really? Really? I'm gonna wait till I move to this location to start acting like I have sense in my brain and make smart choices and stop using this substance or doing this behavior that doesn't serve me, or putting all my time and focus on this distraction instead of doing something that's healthy for me, or putting my energy into a hobby, a creative hobby that will expand me in some way, maybe even into a business that will get me out of this shitty job. You see how it can like snowball into something better? Every little choice can snowball into something better. So as you make a better choice for yourself, as you say, I'm not going to be distracted by this shit today. I'm going to focus on this today. This thing that I enjoy, that actually fills my cup, that actually makes me feel like me, right? That doesn't feel draining. It feels filling. That's what I'm going to focus on. When you focus on that thing, it will snowball into more things and you will see the expansion. You'll want to continue to expand and be better. You will get better at being courageous, because a lot of times it's just, getting out of your comfort zone and having a little freaking courage and doing something different. And not being so, what's everyone going to think? What's my image going to look like? Some people have so much pride, they can't even like compliment other people because they're like, oh, and they'll get a big head and blah, blah, blah. I've been in relationships like that where people will be like, I don't want to compliment her because then she'll get a big head. And it's really just because they're insecure about their own selves. Like, ew. Notice that those little types of things when you're in a relationship or a friendship or anything, when people notice those little things about people and say, hey, is this person good for my life? Or maybe I just have really great energy and they're just got a straw and they're siphoning. And like, it's weird. I don't know if I know some of you guys have probably experienced this, but when I was a kid, like I went through abandonment issues big time. I didn't even see my mom for like a whole year one time when she was trying to get her shit together. Well, anyways, moral of the story is sometimes that shows up in my life as so like when I was a kid, even though my mom was out using drugs and doing the works and abandoned me and my brother, in my eyes, she was still my mom and she could do no wrong, right? So this is just an example of a trauma I carried that I know other people experience. So in my head, I create this fantasy of her, even though she's neglecting me, abandoning me, treating me like I don't even exist, because her head is so far up her own ego and her own ass that she can't even be concerned of her own kids. Wow. Like that's a whole level of narcissism like a lot of people haven't experienced. But when your parent is that, you grow up fantasizing about like what a person could be, falling in love with people's potential and letting them get away with neglect, abandonment, and not showing up for you. Why? Because you were normalized that. The person who's supposed to love you most loved you in the most neglectful, abandoned way that made you felt like you weren't worth a damn and didn't matter. So then you attract people like that in your life. Combine that with a narcissistic father. Oh my God, 2 different types. I watched a video on different types of narcissism, and it's very interesting. How that can make a child, if they were raised by 2 different people who struggle with narcissism, how that can make them so hypervigilant. Oh my God. Me and my brother are probably the most hypervigilant people you've ever seen. We're 25 steps ahead. Like I saw this thing too that was like, if you wear headphones and you're hypervigilant, sometimes you get really anxious because you can't hear what's going on in your surroundings and you don't know if you're safe. Definitely resonate with that. I don't like wearing headphones even sometimes in public. Like I don't know. It feels weird. I need to know what's going on. But that is just like, and then how you will attract people like that in your life. How you don't notice the little signs. You give people the benefit of the doubt over and over and re-forgive and forget. That's another thing. If you've been through a lot of trauma, you might forget things. And then when you start going through ascension in this healing process, things will incrementally come forward to you and you'll remember them and you'll have that opportunity to look at it. And you're now ready to look at it and heal it. Really sit with it, sit with spirit. That's what I do. I just sit with how I feel. I recognize where it came from and I just sit alone and talk to spirit. I'll just sit and talk out loud, guys. That is how I heal. Like everyone asks, how do you do it? Like, just talk. When you're in the worst spaces and you're just bawling and you're really trying to like transmute some energy, some old stale stuff that's coming through, and you're finally in this space where you're allowing it to come up and out. You're not suppressing, you're not distracting. It's just you're being with you and allowing it to be there. And then you just talk to spirit and you will feel that presence. You will feel so loved in that moment. Like you could feel so neglected and that's why you're crying, but you start talking to spirit and all that energy just flows in because you're allowing it to. You're allowing spirit to flow in and help you heal and you're asking for it. This universe is very intentional. speak words out and be intentional. It's like listening to music with a lot of shitty things in it that are talking about negativity and this, that, and the third. It's not even about the cussing. It's the intention. Because sometimes people say, oh, don't say the F word, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, the F word is just an adjective. Well, I guess it can be used in different ways, but it's a word that can put emphasis on something. So would you rather me say I love you, or would you rather me say I fucking love you, right? It's a different energy. So everything is perception and intention, and I can't stand when people try to manipulate using roundabout terms and be like, don't ever say this. It's like, you're not even really looking at it from a more expanded perspective. You're like, you could say it in a beautiful way, but you're not open to that because you're closed-minded. You like going through a rule book, and a lot of religious people are like that. If you follow these rules, you're going to heaven. Like, what? Be a good person? I'm confused. Innately, we know that when we're connected to spirit. So if you're connected to your light, your authenticity, your spirit, your empathy, your love, your joy, your higher frequencies, you don't need a fucking rule book, guys. You are the light. You don't need your guidance. Your inner guidance is your emotions, your frequency, your connection to spirit. You intuitively know through feeling in your own body if something's right, wrong, what you need to do. Those things will come to you in that moment, but you have to be willing to surrender to that and not respond to life from a lower frequency, from ego. So really the mastery is in the recognition, that expanded perception, being the observer. You are observing yourself, right? That is it right there. Because then once you are observing yourself, then you're like, oh, that's what just came into my experience. I can choose how I'm going to respond. That pause is so critical. I've always struggled with that because I'm a talker. I'm talking. I mean, that's how I am. Even though I spend an excessive amount of time alone, I think another part of it is I came here to do this, right? I need to talk. I need to be able to communicate well. But just taking that pause, like maybe when someone's speaking to me, taking a second, listening to what they're saying, taking it all in, and being able to respond from a place of not just saying what I'm thinking and want to say, but from a space of connection, a space of, I heard what you just said. And, I'm going to come from and respond from my own authentic version based off a space of empathy from what you just told me, right? And a lot of humans have a hard time doing that. We can only come from this limited perspective that's mostly just programming. And because everyone else is doing it, it's cool. That's why when people don't want to change and you love those people and you're trying to help them, they make you the bad guy. They make you the bad guy, and they will run to people who do the same shit they do so they don't have to change. They can stay in their little comfort zone and suppress and drink or do whatever they want to do in order to not have to leave the characters that the ego. The characters are the demons. The characters are the alcohol. The characters are whatever attachments you got from having casual experiences with people who don't take care of themselves or their energy. Even if it's just, it doesn't have to just be sex, just interacting with people who don't take care of themselves. You're exchanging that energy with them. You see why energetic boundaries are so important. Protecting yourself is so important. And not just throwing yourself out to the matrix and seeing what happens. Like, okay, if you're going to take a risk, take a calculated risk. The most calculated risk you could take is just connecting to spirit and flowing and not being afraid and just drowning in your ego because that feels safe and normal. Oh, I know the program feels normal, guys, but I promise you it's slavery. Do you want to be free? Oh my gosh, it's so hard watching people that you love trip and fall. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm laughing so I don't cry. That's how I feel about it. I really love a lot of people, a lot of family, friends, my twin, all these people that there's nothing I can do but be the best version of me. And a lot of times not talk. right? Not talk to old family members or friends or people who just are never gonna change, are never gonna like be open to that expansion because they're so close-minded. Like, have you like, God, it's so hard like sharing my experiences sometimes because I'm like, there's like a small hairline chance someone might watch my videos. So I can only share so much out of respect for their experience as well. I'm not talking about my twin flame. I'm talking about like family and shit. It's like, shit, I can't share that, but I feel like it would be very beneficial if I did. But no, I'll find ways to do it that's more discreet. But yeah, it's just like Spirit wants you to see these people. Spirit wants you to see these patterns. Spirit wants you to see these codependencies, these addictions, these escape patterns, these coping mechanisms, these ways that you suppress not having to heal and raise your frequency. And you don't even realize you're like fighting yourself. You're fighting yourself. And you don't have to fight yourself anymore, is what Spirit's saying. All you have to do is step into this space of love. You're whole. Every single piece of you might have disowned or whatever, all those pieces made you who you are and made you able to expand in love even more. When we go through bullshit or we spin through cycles over and over again, that will refine you more and more every time. It'll show you more of what you don't want every single time, whether you recognize it or not, and Spirit will continuously bring it to the forefront until you do. And if you don't do it in this lifetime, you get to next lifetime. Congratulations. Or not congratulations. Because we kind of all just want to do it right here all at once, and then you realize this is this delicate, intricate process, guys. You wouldn't want the full blast of the spontaneous Kundalini awakening. It is just overwhelming. So just, yeah, all in divine timing, all in enjoying the journey, all in recognition of what's of the highest good of you and getting into that creative energy. So your demons aren't running the show. So your darkness isn't running the show. So your codependencies and your addictions and all that are not running the show. Revert that attention to creativity. Creativity is so meditative. It's so healing. Find something creative to do and just do it. Listen to an audiobook if you have to focus. Whatever you have to have on the background, podcast, music, whatever. Nothing, nature, whatever it is for you. We have to revert our focus when we feel the need to go and do the things that we know aren't good for us. Ooh, that was a good message, guys. That's a good one for me. I was in a slump for a few days because I got a little bit like disappointed about some things. And it was just like things that weren't in my control. And I was in this slump and I was going to take a break anyways. My kids had a day off school in the weekend. Usually if my kids are around, I don't try to force making videos or anything like that. I tried to be present, and I needed that too. But I also felt myself just feeling a little bit disappointed, depressy, nothing crazy, but I'm a human too. And I go through different emotions, and you will always be asked to show up as a higher version of you. So like this time, I'm going through this like uncomfortable couple days, I can really come into this recognition of what it is, why I feel that way. It's okay. Take care of yourself. No pressure to do a bunch of stuff. Just focus on you and your kids and being in a higher frequency and not like sinking into these self-worthiness things where you want to control it, but you can't. So then you make it personal and all this kind of things, like recognizing those things. And you know what I wish I would have done that I didn't do is like a little hobby or something, like got a little craft out and did a craft with my daughter, something like that. I feel like that would have helped more. So, every time I do a message, guys, it's for me, it's for you, it's for everybody in this collective that is drawn to this video in order to help us expand together, because that's what we came here for. Okay? So be easy on yourselves, because every day isn't going to be great. You want your default frequency to be this place where you can notice what's happening, even when you're feeling in the gunk. Back in the day, we didn't notice it was happening. We would be in the gunk and it would be normalized because it's our survival mode, and this is how we have always been. This is my personality. I get sassy when it's that time of the month. It's just all these little things, and that's okay. You're human. But once you start recognizing, you can choose to respond in a different way that's more supportive of yourself and less like just reacting to life, right? And blaming everyone else and lashing out or projecting or whatever that is. So I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed this message. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to follow my other channels or donate to this channel, all the links are below, and I will see you on the next one. Love you guys.